Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now first of all I'd like to apologise for a lack of uploads the last couple of days, but I have had an insanely busy couple of days, so I've not really had the chance to do any videos, I'm afraid. But we're here now and we're going to be looking at a band called the Black Moriah. Moriah? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago when I took some time off because I had a sore throat and I couldn't talk because I lost my voice, I was asked by this band, the Black Moriah, to have a check out their album and do a review of it. And I actually wrote a review of the album on my Facebook page, and so I thought I'd do a video on it and talk about it because it's very unusual. It's I would say possibly unique, one of the most interesting things I've heard in a while. And I'll catch you up on it a bit, right? The band, the Black Moriah, are a blackened thrash metal band, although I call them blackened thrash speed metal, which I personally think it's a more accurate description, but you know, each to their own. Anyway, a blackened thrash metal band founded in 2009 in Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas. And it was born from the minds of the Mad Arab from Bleed the Sun, and I'm going to pronounce his name hideously wrong, Zawakizuz from Bleed the Sun, but also from the band Absu. Now, blackened thrash / speed metal, can't really say it's something I've heard very much of, if any, so it led to be quite an intriguing experience. Now obviously I have heard this track before. We're actually listening to the title track off the new album, Road Agents of the Blast Furnace, which was released in March. I say new, it was released in March this year. I'm going to be listening to the title track, Road Agents of the Blast Furnace. Now, I have heard the track before. I don't have any lyrics for it, but so we'll just be talking about the track itself, how it sounds, etc. And then I'll talk a bit about the album afterwards. So we'll just jump straight into it. So this is Road Agents of the Blast Furnace by the Black Moriah. Here we go.
Stubborn as a mule, if you don't mind my saying so. Oh.
Hey, old timer, what are you selling? Listen, I could use a big fat squaw. Don't you have one even second hand?
I just sell whiskey, boys.
You mean the mule makes it and you sell it to us? I wonder who bottles it. Let's try some.
I'll bet you never have better.
And there we go. Road Agents of the Blast Furnace by the Black Moriah. Now, did you spot anything unusual about that? Because it's something that I found very interesting about the band. I mean, obviously with the sound, you know, there's sort of black metal-esque vocal style, but I wouldn't necessarily say it is purely a black metal vocal style against the sort of thrash speed metal in the background. Now, the reason I say it, I wouldn't necessarily say it was black metal vocals is because sometime last year I covered a band called Calamity, who are a thrash metal band from, I think they're from Puerto Rico, if I remember correctly. And they had a very similar vocal style, a very similar sound. In fact, they were a thrash metal band with that similar vocal style. So it's not a vocal style I would necessarily say is necessarily black metal. However, I can see why they've called it that. I mean, it wouldn't sound out of place over traditional black metal music itself. But the thing that intrigued me most about it is the subject matter. Because if you'd noticed, it wasn't what you would typically associate with black or thrash metal. It was cowboys. Yes. Now, it did mention at the end that there was 3 films that were used throughout the video, and that was Death Rides a Horse from 1972, The Man from Nowhere 1966, and Twice a Judas in 1969. So, you know, there's a underlying sort of theme in the West, and I actually have a quote from the guy. It says, "The album is a journey through the dry desert and into different places. It's the dry, cold filth and anarchy of the West that fills the vibe of this album. It also has hints of occultism buried beneath." Now, the title, Road Agents of the Blast Furnace, Road Agents is a term that was used for like hired gunmen, sort of highwaymen, bandits, those sorts of people with sort of low morals, you know, they'll go and steal, pillage, and whatever, you know, and not have a care about it in the world. And the Blast Furnace, it basically just refers to Texas, you know. It's a very, very hot place, you know, so the Blast Furnace is just a reference to the heat that people in Texas endure. So that's where the name of the album comes from. It's basically Bandits of Texas. You know, Road Agents of the Blast Furnace is bandits from Texas, essentially. Now, they released the first album, Casket Prospect, back in 2012, so it's actually taken 7 years to release this new album. And, you know, it was something that was really, really fascinating. You know, I think, you know, musically, well, it's all very well performed, musically and vocally. It is very, very well performed. And if I remember correctly, this is actually the first track off the album. And if you actually, you know, in the video, there was that little bit of film before we got into the music, which just started with a sudden boom, you know, and that's how the album starts. It's right in your face from the very start, and it's fast, it's hard, and it's heavy. Like I said before, for the most part of the album, you know, it is more thrash/speed metal with the occasional bit of black metal thrown in there. No, there's like black metal guitar riffs thrown in there, and some kind of you know, some of the more traditional black metal sort of drum styles thrown in there throughout the album. And, you know, it makes it a very, very interesting album. I mean, it doesn't cover the usual subjects that most black metal has, which is like magic, occultism, anti-Christianism, you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, obviously there's a little bit of the occultism thrown in there, but it doesn't follow the typical subjects that normal black metal does, which is something that does make it very interesting to me. But the fact that they're covering subject matter like the Old West, is something very unique in that style of music. I thought it was very, very good. I thought it was very, very fascinating. Now, as you heard from that track, it's quite a good, fast, and pretty heavy track, and for the most part, the entire album is like that. And it was, it's actually it's very enjoyable. Gets you pumped. The only real criticisms I really have about the entire album is occasionally some of the riffs, especially the black metal style riff, can get a bit sort of repetitive or unimaginative. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't detract from the album at all. The album itself is very, very good, but I do find that some of the black metal parts, maybe even a little bit cliche, if you get what I mean, because a lot of black metal is just like playing the same riff really, really fast over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. There isn't really much change in melody in traditional black metal. And, that does come across every now and then in this album, and it kind of puts a little bit of a spoiler on the fact that, the rest of the music, the sort of more thrashy speed metal elements, they're really good, they change up, they're fast, they're heavy, and then they throw in a black metal bit, which, it fits in with the music, but it kind of ruins it a bit when it's such a unimaginative riff, if you get what I mean. But that's really the only sort of problem I had with it. It's actually a very, very good and very, very enjoyable album. And I definitely suggest going out and checking them out. You can find their earlier album, Casket Prospects, on their Bandcamp page. There is something about this album, it just sort of burrowed into my head. And I listened to it something like 7 or 8 times within 2 days. It really sort of burrowed into my head, and there were certain verses and choruses from songs that really sort of stuck in my head, and I found myself sort of singing them and going, oh god, I need to listen to that again, because I couldn't get it out of my head, so I had to listen to it again. And as you will have heard from that track, I think it would appeal to people who love thrash metal and some people who would like black metal. Like I said, there are black metal elements in other songs, not so much in that one, but there are black metal elements in other tracks, So, I think it would possibly appeal to some of them. But, obviously don't go into it expecting an all-out black metal sounding album, because you're not going to get it, But it's definitely worth checking out. It was a very, very interesting album. It's something I can't say I've ever seen before, sort of Old West, sort of highwayman sort of themed music with a black metal twist. It's something very interesting about it. And I really liked it. I thought it was good. So, excuse me. But yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out, I think. If that song intrigued you, it's definitely worth going and checking out the rest of it. Like I said, you can check out their Bandcamp. I think. Yeah, I'll put links below to where you can listen to the Casket Prospects. So, definitely go and have a look, check it out, and you might be quite surprised by what you hear, because I certainly was. But I'll leave that as it is for the time being. If anybody has a suggestion for a track they want me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel. Help me create future content, maybe even improve the quality of that content as well. Do know, however, that if you do make a suggestion, it might take me a while to get around to it, because I do get suggested so many tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it will get done eventually. It's just going to take me a while to get around to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those that are aimed at people of the alternative culture, those who listen to alternative music or wear alternative fashion. And it's something that I very strongly believe in, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something I've been dealing with most of my life. Every single day, all over the world, people are getting violently attacked, people are getting viciously beaten just because they listen to alternative music and just because they wear like leather jackets or band t-shirts, you know. And there's no particular reason for this other than the fact that we stand out, we're different, so we're made an easy target, you know. Because we don't fit into societal norms, people think it's okay to viciously attack us, you know. There's, you know, it's something that's it's never made sense to me, you know. What is the point in doing it? Because, you know, you're not gonna change our minds, you know. You're not gonna beat 10 shades out of us, and we're gonna then sit up and go, do you know what? You're right. I'm not going to listen to heavy metal anymore. I'm going to listen to Taylor Swift and wear beige. It's not going to happen. So why bother? What is the point in doing it? And the main reason they do it is because they want to look big and hard in front of their mates, and that is it. You know, there's no other reason for it. You know, they just think you're different. I'm going to attack you because I think it's going to be funny, and I'm going to boast about it to my mates. And the thing is, you'll always find that these people will never attack you one-on-one. Any time that these people attack someone of the alternative culture, they always do it in a group. You know, there's always 2, 3, 4, 5, however many of them, against 1 or 2. You know, they always outnumber you because, you know, in essence, these people are cowards. You know, the amount of times I've been walking down the street and someone has shouted "goth" at me, but they'd only do it whilst they're going past in a car because they know they can get away. You know, you don't see them. They don't walk down the street and shout it at you. They only do it when they can get away quickly because they're cowards. And you know, they violently attack people every single day for being different in groups because they're cowards. I mean, look at the Sophie Lancaster incident. Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby minding their own business, walking home. 2 people minding their own business, walking home. And they were set upon by a group of people, 5 or 6 people, and viciously attacked, violently beaten, brutally assaulted. They had their heads stamped on, and both of them ended up being put into a coma. You know, 6 people. 5, 6 people attacking 2 people, one of which was, you know, a lovely young girl. And they were violently beaten just because of the way they looked, just because of the music that they listened to. That was it. And Sophie Lancaster died. She was so violently attacked that she died. You know, she had her head stamped on. And she was in a coma for 13 days. She was murdered just because of the music she listens to. It's unacceptable. But this happens every single day. And the thing is, this sort of thing never gets spoken about unless a tragedy occurs. And that shouldn't be the case. You know, what happened to Sophie Lancaster has happened before. It should never have happened. It should never happen again. And the thing is, since Sophie Lancaster's death, I can guarantee you that thousands of more attacks like this have happened. Thousands more people of the alternative culture have been violently attacked, but the only reason you don't know about it is because it didn't end in tragedy. The thing is, it shouldn't take a tragedy for something like this to get spoken about. Excuse me. You know, you hear about racism all over the news. You know, someone reporting a black family because they're having a picnic in a public space. You know, this happens every day, and it gets spoken about. You know, people getting singled out because they're disabled. This gets spoken about. People getting violently attacked and hospitalised because of their taste in music. This doesn't get spoken about, not nearly enough. And it needs more attention bringing to it. And that's exactly what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. They want this to get spoken about more, because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through. You know, nobody should lose their child because of their taste in music. You know, people getting violently beaten, violently attacked because of their taste in music, it needs to stop. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want this to stop. They want to put an end to it. They want people to know of the consequences of their actions, the fact that they will face the consequences for doing what they're doing. So, if you want to find out more about Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, and find out what their goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, you know, even if you can make a small donation through their website, or even something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands from their web store, if you can help them out in any small way, it would be greatly appreciated, because the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.